to us about what sort of impact the president-elect has had on the shape of U.S. politics this year alone?
Well, first of all, it's the greatest comeback story in American political history. I mean, when you think about all the things you just listed that he survived, from the political stuff to the lawfare to the assassination attempts to the Democrats changing out their campaign, when you think about all the unprecedented stuff that he had to survive in order to come back from losing in 2020 to winning not just the Electoral College, but the popular vote in 2024. There's never been anything like it. One of the superpowers of Donald Trump is that he's the breaker of narratives. And there were always narratives around him that he could never win the election, that the case in New York was going to bring him down, that, you know, this or that was going to be the thing that finally brought down Donald Trump, or that Kamala Harris was the greatest presidential candidate we've ever seen, and so on and so forth. Trump is the breaker of narratives, and I think he exposed really the political information distribution complex in this election for what it is, which is often a distributor of narratives and not facts. And a lot of people came out and supported Donald Trump because they felt like they were being lied to by the current administration. They had a real mistrust of the policies that had been instituted. They were upset about the economy. The border was, and I think he's right, the border was really on people's minds for all of the societal impacts of that. And he broke all of the narratives around it that was coming out of the media and coming out of the Democrats and won this huge victory. I think it's earth-shattering what he did, not just for politics, but the way we as Americans receive and process our political information. He kind of bypassed, in some ways, the mainstream media and went right to these alternative media sources, and it turns out his entire strategy around that was correct.
It's true. Trump is the narrative breaker. I think that's going to be his new nickname. I think that's how he's going to be remembered. Just like Reagan was remembered as the great communicator, I think Donald Trump will be remembered as the narrative breaker, because it seemed like every narrative they created about this guy. Remember, Donald Trump is the recipient of 89% of negative news coverage across liberal legacy media. That is a fact. That's a fact, right? And the fact that he still won popular vote, swept all 7 swing states, became named Person of the Year, went on Wall Street, the stock exchange, rang the bell, becoming the first president since Reagan to do it. Donald Trump is winning all over the place. But I just don't want to make it only about Trump. But there's other things that I want to pack into this video, and I want to do it as efficiently as possible. I want to get into the resignation of Christopher Wray. As you guys know, Rye, or I might have messed that up. Ray, I'll say Ray for now. FBI Director Chris Wray to resign. Wray announcement comes after Trump tapped a new nominee to lead the bureau. Now, many people are speculating that he wanted to, save himself the embarrassment of getting summarily fired by Donald Trump. But there's a new motive arising. And before I expose that new motive, essentially, the conspiracy theorists were right about January 6th. Let's take a look.
This is a pretty big piece of news to kick off the show today, Sandra. I'm John Roberts in Washington. The report reveals that there were a total of 26 confidential human sources in the crowd that day.
David Spunt is live from the Justice Department. He has got the news for us. David.
Sandra, 3 of those were authorized and tasked by the FBI to be there on January 6, 2021. We're coming up on 4 years since that day of the Capitol riot. This IG report specifically focuses on the FBI's handling of confidential human sources, or as we know them, FBI informants. For years, the outgoing FBI Director Chris Wray has been pressed on reports of undercover agents. According to this new report, there were no undercover FBI agents. However, there were 3 confidential human sources tasked by the Bureau to be in the crowd on January 6th to specifically watch what the report states is concerns over domestic terrorism. Out of those 3, Sandra and John, 1 entered the Capitol, 2 others entered a restricted area. The report says the FBI did not encourage or authorize any sources to go into the building or a restricted area. In addition to the 3 confidential human sources, the FBI told there were 23 that were there on their own. Now, they had worked with the FBI in the past on other cases, but not specifically on the January 6th rally. Some of them entered a restricted area as well. And what stands out in this report, John and Sandra, Sandra, none of the confidential human sources that entered the U.S. Capitol or a restricted area were prosecuted by the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office. Remember, this is an office that is still arresting nearly 4 years later and prosecuting people with this case. Now,
So we have that in the background, right? So 26 FBI agents was in there during January 6th, right? Many people made claims during January 6th that, hey, there's people in the crowd trying to encourage people to go into the Capitol, to do all this stuff. Now it's more plausible now. And if you thought that, you'd have been labeled a conspiracy theory. But it right on cue, 4 years later, right? After there'll be kind of the consequences it won't matter at this point, right? Enough time has passed away. And I like how they slowly like are doing this stuff, right? They're still bringing in people for January 6th. 4 years, 3 years later, about to be 4 years once January comes around. These people know how to hold on to a grudge. But I wanted to show you how mainstream media is covering it. And this is one of the reasons why people don't trust the mainstream media. On social media, on alternative media, people were thinking about this. I remember vividly that Vivek Ramaswamy showed a video of Capitol Police throwing tear gas into the crowd. And the crowd reacted violently to that. And that's what caused that reaction that you see in the thing. The crowd was saying, it's your fault. You caused this. Because they're throwing tear gas into a crowd when the crowd wasn't really being threatening. They were just like walking through the Capitol peacefully or whatever. They're walking around and you throwing tear gas at them. It's like you try to agitate the crowd. If it was BLM and that was happening, people would have automatically understood what was going on. But because it's their political enemies, they don't want to give them no grace. So this is how CNN is covering it. And then I'll show you how there's more to Christopher Wray's resignation than just, oh, I don't want to get Trump. I don't want to get fired by Trump.
Not far from where I'm sitting tonight, Wray was confirmed with a total of 92 votes in the Senate. The only 5 votes that you see there against him, the no votes for his nomination, those were all Democrats. That means every single Republican who was present voted for him. But that was 2017, and of course, this is now. And this was Trump when he selected Wray initially in 2017, compared to Trump's view of him just a few days ago.
I believe that we will have a great FBI director. I think he's doing really well. And we're very proud of that choice. I think I've done a great service to the country by choosing him. He will make us all proud, and I think someday we'll see that.
One thing I want to point out, too, is that Trump already admitted that he picked wrong. He didn't know people in Washington. People bring a list that say, hey, these are the people we think are qualified. He trusted people in the swamp, and these people actively worked against them. And then I think what really changes mood, and this is some of the context I wish CNN would throw in there, is that he had no answers for why the FBI decided to raid Mar-a-Lago when Trump already said that he was complying with the investigation with FBI, so he felt embarrassed. It's like, yo, you just did this to embarrass me. I was already complying with you. Why you had to go raid my home while I was away? To create this whole news cycle, and Christopher Wray did not want to answer questions about that. And then after he resigns, all of a sudden we find out things about January 6th. And I think this is what made Trump sour on Christopher Wray. So to pretend that is just merely political, oh, Trump's just like, oh, he's fickle, he just changed his mind. I think that's disingenuous reporting in my view anyway. But CNN's known for this. So I'll let it play out for one more minute, and then I'll move on to Thomas Massey.
And hopefully someday soon. So we're very proud of him.
Well, I can't say I'm thrilled with him. He invaded my home. I'm suing the country over it. He invaded Mar-a-Lago. I'm very unhappy with the things he's done. And crime is at an all-time high. Migrants are pouring into the country that are from prisons and from mental institutions, as we've discussed. I can't say I'm thrilled.
Now, I should note, Chris Wray, of course, did not personally invade Mar-a-Lago. The FBI did execute a court-approved search warrant there 2 years ago after Trump repeatedly refused to turn over classified documents. Though Trump had several issues with Wray and wanted to fire him actually at the end of his last term, it was that search, once he was out of office, that really cemented his animosity toward him. I also have new reporting tonight that as Chris Wray was wrestling with his decision to resign or not before Trump took office, one thing stood out. He wanted to leave the agency on his own terms.
Yep, I agree with that. He sure did. He sure did want to leave on his own terms. So here's the post from Thomas Massey that I wanted to show. Today's shocking DOJ IG report provides Donald Trump with all he needs to pardon January 6ers on day one. I urge him to do so. J6ers were prosecuted by the DOJ for coming to the Capitol on January 6th. FBI January 6ers were reimbursed by the DOJ for coming on the Capitol on January 6th, right? And I think I have a news story that I want to highlight how CNN got ratioed on X, right? Here it is. CNN 16 hours ago posted, no undercover FBI agents were at the U.S. Capitol during the insurrection, a Justice Department watchdog has found, right? This is obviously a lie. Rejecting claims by allies of President-elect Donald Trump that the violence on January 6, 2021 was provoked by the federal agents. People were saying breaking, and the Inspector General has just revealed that at least 26 FBI informants on the ground of Capitol January 6th, at least 3 saw them entering the Capitol. This is not a good look for CNN. This is the kind of thing that hurts CNN, that hurted legacy media's credibility. This is why CNN ratings is at the bottom with the Food Channel. This is why. Because you come in here trying to lecture us about, somehow Joe Biden's pardons are justified. Apparently, one of his out of his 39 pardons, I forgot how many pardons that Joe Biden did. That's how many pardons he did December 12th, if I remember correctly, or December 11th, one of those days. It was a guy who was caught with child pornography. That's one of the guys that received pardons from Joe Biden. And everyone's like, what the hell is this guy doing? What the hell is Joe Biden doing? Donald Trump wins Times Person of the Year. Both of these headlines are about being named Person of the Year. The top headline is about Biden and Kamala. The bottom headline is about Trump. The mainstream media is the enemy of the people. Look at how they cover it. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris named Times Person of the Year 2020. 4 years ago, exactly. Donald Trump joins the exclusive club enjoyed by Hitler, Stalin. Wow. So can I say the same thing? Joe Biden and Kamala joins exclusive club joined by, like, make it make sense. Look at these people. Do these people not like know that Google exists? Like, these people are so funny. This is why legacy media loses its credibility. And then they're going to get mad and blame Donald Trump. Oh, it's Donald Trump's fault. It's Donald Trump's fault that no one trusts the mainstream media. No. It's biased takes that ruined the mainstream. Let's look. I got some clips for you guys. Here's Scott Jennings arguing why Joe Biden is a monumental disgrace. But you all know many people in the media will sit here and defend Biden tooth and nail. But this segment I'm about to show you with Scott Jennings encapsulate everything wrong with the Democratic Party, everything wrong with the mainstream media, because they don't call things out objectively.
It was a total disgrace. He's leaving office in disgrace because of this pardon. And it's not just the pardon, it's the lying. Lied to the American people. According to NBC News, he and his top aides hatched a plan to lie to the American people. And then this week, he didn't even have the guts to go out to the White House podium and take questions about it. He sent Karine Jean-Pierre out there, who was also a part of the lying. And then she continued to gaslight the American people and the media. The American people ought to be pissed. But the media, the people who cover this White House, ought to be absolutely livid at the gaslighting and then the continued gaslighting and the hostility towards the idea of transparency. This is a monumental disgrace. You think 38, 39% job approval is low? Wait until we test him as he leaves office. He's going out of office as one of the least liked and most divisive presidents we've ever had.
And I talked about why Joe Biden should not run by mental capacity of personal experiences I had. The vice president came on a few people after me and criticized what I said and said his age had no determination of going forward. These decisions of the pardon and running again were all decisions made with this president, with his family. And every time he's sitting with his family, he's made the wrong decision. And nobody on this table would have thought that he wasn't going to pardon him. So we thought he was lying to us the entire time, and I knew they were lying to us about his mental capacity every time I met with him. What is in the voters' mind on Election Day? Kamala Harris didn't flip one county. Not one county. She did worse on the gender vote than Joe Biden did. And I would say this one question to any race. What's in the voters' mind on Election Day? She had more than $1 billion. And I'm being frank. I could not tell you the three things she was going to accomplish if she got elected. The only thing that comes to mind is she was going to give first-time home buyers $25,000. So that's a repudiation on the campaign itself. What was the campaign about? We could say all these other things, but to a voter out there, what are you going to do?
Hindsight truly is 2020, right? I wrote some of the things down as you guys saw from the clip, and I think this will wrap up my summary here of why USA chants broke out as Trump rang the bell, right? Let's play a little bit of that.
The incoming leader of the free world is going to ring the bell here in about 20 seconds, an historic moment at the New York Stock Exchange as we get this opening bell rung by the...
Like, imagine all the things the liberal media was telling you, right?
President-elect Donald Trump.
So imagine everything they were telling you. Everything, it was projection. Let's go with my projection fallacy, my projection theory. Democrats always project everything that they are actually guilty of. They call Donald Trump a liar. It turns out it was Democrats. They lied about January 6th. People are saying, hey, there's FBI informants. CNN telling you, wagging their finger at you. There's no FBI agents. We believe these independent watchdog organizations that's also in cahoots with the government that don't like Donald Trump. But you believe them, CNN. Okay. Then they call us conspiracy theories. People online are conspiracy theorists. Because they got no facts or evidence. Right? And then the facts or evidence came out 3-4 years after we make the claim. So who's really propaganda? I wrote here, legacy media. Legacy media is truly the propaganda. Because they're sitting here saying, using he said, she said for stories. Oh, I forgot what Pete Hegseth recently, a military academy claimed that Pete Hegseth never received acceptance to their academy. CNN was about to run with it. Actually, I think they did ran with it and published it and said, Pete Hegseth lies about being accepted in prestigious military academy. Pete Hegseth debunked them by taking out in his personal records an acceptance letter that he saved, that he preserved. Imagine if Pete Hegseth didn't have that. What can I not call? Is it fair for me to call legacy media propaganda? Isn't that fair? Look at the results. Look at the outcomes. You put out a story. You just took the Academy's word for it. The Academy didn't know. That means either there was a lack of record keeping with the Academy, or the Academy said something so you could run a story with. And now he's about to be their boss. Make it make sense. And now they had to apologize. Like if he didn't have that letter, what would have happened? We would have believed something that was false. If you uttered the facts in this ING reported last year, you would have been labeled a conspiracy theorist. It's also notable that the IG report came out literally the day after Christopher Wray resigns. Not a good look, because this man couldn't answer any questions. But the left is so distraught that he had to leave. Oh, it seemed like everything that Trump don't like, media automatically takes the side of those who's against them. And my final thing that I wanted to put, I put Kamala Harris in there a little bit. Everyone's like, oh, Kamala Harris is running a perfect campaign. You heard that a lot. A perfect campaign that lost 7 states. Don't sound perfect to me. A campaign where you didn't even know what her accomplishment, what she was trying to accomplish with her campaign. But I know why she was running against Trump. But Trump. That's why I said the but Trump messaging from Kamala Harris won't work. Look at my channel. I said this numerous times, but you know what the Democrats will tell themselves? Oh, it's because she's a woman. That's why she lost the election. Get the F out of here. Y'all, her voters, her supporters couldn't even tell you what were her accomplishments as VP. But y'all was sitting here in mainstream media. She's the most qualified president ever. presidential candidate ever. She's more qualified than Donald Trump. How are you more qualified than a guy that already did the job before? Like, make it make sense. Donald Trump has 4 years experience being a president. Your person has 4 years of experience being a vice president. Who's more qualified for a job? A guy that already has experience doing the position he's running for, or someone that's running in a transition position into that? Like, you're going to take the guy who has proven experience every single time. Objectively, Trump is the most qualified candidate between the two. But mainstream media sitting here telling you lies. Everything they project onto alternative media, onto Donald Trump, truly, they are guilty of. Their side is guilty of. And when they get the label of, hey, media suffers from liberal bias, they're going to pretend, oh, no, we don't suffer from liberal bias. But if you look at the New York Times, there was a piece of a journalist saying that objectivity is going to get in the way of stopping Trump. Literally, this New York Times, I don't know, remember the journalist's name. But they claim, yo, journalists cannot be objective if you were trying to stop Donald Trump. That's literally what he's saying. And then when the people call out the mainstream media, legacy media, for bias, they want to pretend that they don't have bias, that they're just reporting the facts. Yeah, okay. Just like y'all coordinated in 2020 to discredit the Hunter Biden laptop story, right? That was reporting the facts too, huh? These people, bro. And they wonder why they lose trust in the media. Donald Trump's living up to the name, and I think, you guys get the premise of my video, and I think I'm gonna wrap it up. But Trump truly is the narrative breaker. Every claim, oh, you gotta check out that Hunter laptop story. 60-minute interview saying, no, that's discredited. That's not improving claims. He said, oh, of course you're not going to talk about it. You're trying to defend the Democrats. I'm done, bro. I'm done. But Donald Trump truly is the narrative breaker. Let me know if you agree or you disagree. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.